here are already vegans. Another quarter are probably vegetarians, and the other half are probably your regular carnivores or omnivores who are just curious about products and they need my recommendations. I read a book by Peter Singer called Animal Liberation, and after I read about 60 pages, I've never eaten meat since that. That was the start, and then the interest in animal rights started to come to Finland. At that time, it was quite a bit in the news, and it got my attention. And here I am. I've been involved ever since. I think it was sort of a normal activist career. I started to go to different meetings, demonstrations, signing petitions, distributing leaflets, and that sort of stuff. What I'm mostly known for is probably my involvement in the filming of the factory farms. I've been filming conditions of how pigs live in factory farms, and hens and cows and animals in fur farms. The conditions were just as horrible as you might think. Although at the moment, when we first got the idea to go and film the animals, we weren't quite sure what we would find. I think actually that we were a little bit horrified that the conditions were as bad as they were. I think we were a little bit naive, and I think how animal products are advertised, how the conditions are advertised, probably affected us. I just constantly try to evaluate myself and what I'm doing, and think about things if there's something more effective and something that people aren't doing yet that could be worth doing. I mean, a lot of things have changed, but the one thing that hasn't really changed is how animals are at the factory farms, which is our main problem, of course, our main thing. But I think we've taken small steps towards more animal-friendly society, but it'll take quite a few years before we achieve our goals, if we ever will achieve them. I think the main step, and probably the easiest one, is to reduce the use of animal products in daily life. For example, reducing meat and substituting it with soy products or other plant-based proteins. That's probably the easiest and actually quite effective. If you want to do other than that, then I would suggest getting in contact with local animal rights group. That's really good stuff. And just speaking about animal rights, yeah, I think it's really important just to engage people in conversations about animal rights. And I mean, I don't want to condemn people who use animal products. I think it's part of our culture and part of our society. Of course, it has to end. But I don't think that guilting people into changes that's not an effective way. But just calmly and rationally speaking about things, that's the first step. I'm pretty optimistic that in 20 or 30 years the factory farming is most likely gone, but it's just a bad memory. I'm quite optimistic on this view, but it's how people are really willing to try new plant-based proteins, and lab-grown meat is also something that might change how we see things and how we view things.